Have you ever come across a guy who is unattractive, socially awkward, somewhat weird, and unfortunately not really good at anything? Well, according to writer Vox Day, that type of male is an omega male. But what other characteristics are attributed to an omega male, and how can an omega try and change or improve on these attributes? Is being an omega male even a bad thing? Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr Aziz. I'm a psychology graduate of Cambridge University and also a medical doctor. In this video, we'll be continuing our series on the different male personality types. Again, just to recap where this categorization of different males came from, the answer is the social-sexual hierarchy. According to its creator Vox Day, the social-sexual hierarchy is a system for categorizing how men and boys relate to one another, what you are, how you behave, and what your natural inclinations are likely to be. Men are divided into 6 ranks or archetypes within the hierarchy. These ranks are alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega, sigma. Every rank has its own distinguishing traits and characteristics, and in this video we are going to specifically examine the omega male archetype and the key signs that you may be an omega male. What is an omega male? So you've heard the phrase before, but what's the omega male definition? Simply put, an omega male is someone who defies all masculine expectations. Many people refer to this term negatively, but in reality there is nothing wrong with being an omega male. The division of masculine identity comes from the social-sexual hierarchy. According to this theory, the alpha versus omega divide is the biggest. Alpha versus beta versus omega. What does it all mean? Before listing out the different omega male personality traits, let's talk broadly about the characteristics of alpha, beta, and omega males, and I'll link the relevant videos after this video because we've covered each of these separately. Remember, the alpha male is considered to be at the top of the hierarchy, characterized by a domineering personality, the need to have it all, and achievement orientated in all fields, including relationships. The beta male is more charm and friendliness orientated. Unlike alpha males, they tend to be quite easygoing and avoid confrontations. So now let's come on to the 10 key signs that you may be an omega male. Number 1, you are not the best at socializing. One of the most common omega male characteristics is having difficulty making new friends or socializing freely with strangers. They are very guarded people and tend to prefer the company of a few friends. Omega males also prefer alone time over going to a party or engaging in socializing activity. Because they are so guarded, it can be hard to strike up a conversation with them. An excellent way to get them to talk more is to find the things that interest them and ask questions about them. As an omega male, if you want to get over this hurdle, then it's essential to learn how to bring yourself to make small talk. This can be hard if you are having a lot of anxiety over meeting people, but small talk is an integral part to getting ahead in life. You can develop this skill by practicing conversations and forcing yourself to interact with new people, maybe when you're in line for a coffee or traveling on the bus or the subway. I'll also link the best-selling book summary, How to Talk to Anyone by Leigh Loans here, which we've covered on this channel. Number 2, you're not the most presentable person in the room. If you've frequently been told that you need to wash up or present yourself better, chances are your appearance can be off-putting. This is one of the common signs of omega male personality. A shabby presence does not mean that you're ugly or revolting. You just don't care about your physical experience and neglect grooming yourself. This can push people away. Appearances make a big difference in life and in the way people perceive you. Not taking the time to make yourself presentable can get undesirable looks from people. Number 3, you don't have a lot of friends. If you've noticed that you don't have friends exactly, but rather just acquaintances, you're not giving yourself or others the chance to interact and open up. This could be because you have an antisocial personality or do not care about anyone else. Not having friends is a classic marker of an omega male personality because it implies that you cannot form connections with people. An excellent way to change this is to start letting your guard down and interacting with people. Number 4, you're confused about your status. Society consists of inherent social hierarchies and everyone lands somewhere on that ranking. If you're unaware of this ranking system or don't know where you stand, your obliviousness could signify that you are in fact an omega male. Studies show that social ranking and popularity are connected to how individuals think about themselves. However, omega males do not think about their place in society and are often considered misfits or outcasts. Being more aware of the groups around you can help improve your social life. Number 5, you have a hard time understanding women. While people often wonder if omega is better than alpha, alpha males take the lead when it comes to women. This is because they tend to interact with women more and use their charisma and attractiveness to find a partner, whereas omega males tend to shy away. It can be hard to change your ways, but being more sure of oneself and approaching women like you would approach anyone else, no matter how attractive she is, could yield better dating results. Sure, you might get some rejections, but it's all part of the learning process. Number 6, you are close-minded. An omega male trait that is often discussed is their closed-mindedness. They tend to believe that they are the best or have the best knowledge about specific issues, disregarding the other people's opinions. If you think you can be closed-minded sometimes, there's a good chance you're not only ticking other people off, but you also have an extremely narrow view of the world that can get in the way of you becoming successful. Number 7, you play the devil's advocate. A good sign that you are an omega male is if you constantly try to push people's buttons. While some research shows that certain people are more cognitively inclined to play the devil's advocate than others, almost everyone agrees that the arguments are more destructive than constructive. Number 8, you are unmotivated. Omega males are so looked down on by others, particularly alpha males, because omega males tend to be unmotivated and unenthusiastic about being successful or accomplished. This lack of motivation could be why they tend to be unemployed, lazy, or impressionable. Number 9, you shy away from the spotlight. Most of the time, omega males tend not to care for the spotlight. This is not necessarily a bad thing. Many people find fame and recognition vain and therefore do not revel in it as alpha males do. Number 10, you frequently claim you don't need anyone. A common trait of omega males is that they see themselves as lone wolves. They claim they do not need anyone and distance themselves from others as much as possible. They ask for no help, nor do they help others. They kind of stay on their own little island. So there we have it, the 10 key features that make a man an omega male. Now, all this may sound negative, but is it actually a bad thing to be an omega male? An omega male is considered at the bottom of the power hierarchy. Even though toxic ideologies tend to dismiss omega males as losers, they are not always so. Contrary to what social media or other people say, being an omega male is not inherently bad. People think it's bad only because omega males do not conform to society's definition of success. However, if you have goals that require you to be accomplished, maybe growing out of being an omega male is for the best. Otherwise, be happy with who you are. Contentment comes from within. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Do you think that you're an omega male? Have you moved from one personality type to another? If you haven't already done so, make sure to watch these other animated summaries on the different personality types. We also mentioned small talk earlier, and I'll also link the best-selling book summary, How to Talk to Anyone by Layla Lones, right here, free for you to watch. Anyway, I hope you learned something useful and enjoyed this summary. If you want to keep learning about psychology, medicine, or life hacks, hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button. Any suggestions or comments, feel free to post below. Until next time, stay safe.